Hi everybody, I'm JT. Welcome to another video from me here at Campervan Journey. So good morning everybody. This is the final instalment of our trip this year to the French Alps, or our winter ski trip to the French Alps, because who knows, we might be back later in the summer. And this morning we're just getting packed up and ready to head off on our journey back to the UK. If you've been following this series of videos and kept progress, you'll know that we've been spending the last few days in the fantastic cabin behind us here at Camping Huttopia in Bourg Saint Maurice. And today it's about 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. We're going to get ourselves packed up and then be driving back to the UK to catch a shuttle train very, very early tomorrow morning. So I don't know if you can tell from the video, but I mean, we've had glorious weather all week. And but yesterday evening when we got back from skiing, around about 5 o'clock in the evening, the wind really picked up, and it's been actually really windy overnight. And if I was staying in a van or similar, I bet it'd be rocking around a bit because of the breeze. I mean, certainly we felt our van moving around, but wasn't on the forecast, which is interesting, but it's very mild. It's probably now about 5 or 6 degrees, not at all frosty. What is noticeable is in the last 24 hours, lots of people have already departed, making their trip back to the UK. The hard standing area here at Huttopia is half as occupied as it was. A few new faces. So you might be thinking, it's 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, he's got to get all the way back to the UK. What's he doing? Wandering around, talking to his camera and not getting ready and getting on the road to head out and get through those miles. Well, the fact of the matter is that there's one road in and one road out of these resorts into the Alps. And it gets very busy on a Saturday. It's what's called changeover day. You get huge amounts of traffic coming out, huge amounts of traffic coming in. And we've tried leaving at all sorts of different times to try and beat that traffic. And now that we've been a few times, we've learned from experience that actually leaving later in the day means you have a more relaxed departure. So we've pushed our Eurotunnel LeShuttle crossing back to early Sunday morning, and we will have a leisurely morning here in Borg Saint Maurice. We don't need to be out of the cabin till about 10ish, and then Saturday's market day in Borg, so we'll wander up to the town to go and visit the market. I'm sure we'll buy a few more souvenirs and knickknacks to bring back with us, have some lunch, and then head off probably around about 2ish. But having done that previously, found that actually the travel time was less and we didn't get back much later, although we left a lot later in the day than when we left at I think 2 or 3 years ago. We left at 5:30 in the morning. So it's a real balancing act. But whilst you look at the road behind me now, there's no traffic at all. You can bet your life that about 5 kilometres down the road along the high street, the traffic will already be queuing back up. So relaxed morning, nice breakfast, visit to the market. That's the option we're going to go for. I'm not sure if I want to be up on the ski slopes today anyway, because with this wind, I don't know what the policy is on the ski lifts, whether they have them open or closed, but even down at this level it's windy. So 1,000 meters higher up, I can imagine it can be a little bit hairy at times. Anyway, back on with the chores. So I just want to get a few bits from the Super U for our breakfast and a few provisions to take back with us. This probably won't be our last visit to Super U because there's a really nice restaurant here, which it's hard to believe, isn't it, in a supermarket restaurant, but we'll have our lunch here before we go back. We had some lovely pizza last year. Well, so keen in my excitement to get down here and get organised. Super U's not actually open yet, believe it or not. So it's 10 to 8 and they don't open till 8:30. So let's reschedule our plans, get ourselves organised, go back and do some packing. So just shows you that even, I think this is the 7th or the 8th time that we've been here in winter and summer. It's still possible to get yourself muddled up with the opening times of the local supermarket. It was so windy last night, I think some of these trapper tents have taken a bit of a battering. There's one around the corner from us where it looks like the roof has actually come right off. Yeah, there we go, one battered trapper tent. So time to start loading everything back into the van. Okay, so after about half an hour, everything's packed in and loaded up. Got all our storage boxes as before in the back. Everything all ready for our trip back. We have quite a lot of food to take back with us. I wonder if there's any room for any more wine. There's a lovely smell of saucisson coming from in there, I think. Probably, as we've got a bit of time to kill before we head off later at lunchtime, we're going to wander down into the town centre, have a little look at the market, and then we'll be back to grab some lunch before we head off later on. So our final morning, we're going to wander down to the market in Bourg Saint Maurice. I've just noticed that Claire and Ruth have got matching boots. How nice. To the town centre you can do either along the high street, along the main road, or you can take this footpath that runs alongside the river and enjoy the countryside. So if you're looking for a free park up in Bourg Saint Maurice for a couple of nights, there is this one down in this piece of wasteland just behind the football stadium. I think it's on Search for Sites or Park for Night. There's always a few vans parked down here. Not sure I'd want to stay here for a whole week. As a one-night stopover could be an option. So French markets are always very colourful, full of great smells. What is that?
It looks interesting.
It is interesting, isn't it? all keen for you to try the different produce. The trick is not to feel like you're trying too much, and then you've got to buy it. Don't know whether Claire's going to be able to resist. So last night, very strangely, I had a dream about Claire and I getting a tattoo. Maybe we were destined to come here. Chicken and sausage on. Two of my favourite things. So I've finally lost Claire, Ruth and the rest of the guys in the lovely gift shop behind us. The question is will they be able to come out empty-handed or not? So many lovely things for sale around here. I'm sure it'll be difficult for them to do so, but we'll see. Trying to resist the temptation to buy a rotisserie chicken before lunch. Think we can manage?
The potatoes look amazing.
The potatoes down the bottom and all the fat, yeah. And there's big sausages. Just looks amazing. Hey. So what a nice Saturday morning, enjoying the delights of Bourg Saint Maurice market. So I think next thing, find somewhere to have some lunch, which I think we're going to do in the Super U restaurant because it's very tasty, and then we'll be heading off back to the UK. This is why we don't go first thing, because the traffic will be like this all the way to Albertville and maybe beyond. So by waiting late, having a relaxing morning, we avoid the queues. So I just want to remind all of my English viewers that we are currently in a French supermarket. We're in a restaurant in a French supermarket, and this is what we have for lunch. A mega pizza, an astonishing burger.
And more burger.
Looking forward to that? Yes. So our friends who we've been staying with, who are just about to leave now, are flying back to the UK, whereas we are obviously driving back in the van. So they are going to drive back to Geneva, have an overnight and catch a flight home tomorrow via Bristol, whereas we are driving all the way back through France, having an overnight somewhere and then catching the Eurotunnel tomorrow morning. So there's a bit of a Top Gear challenge race going on as to see who will get back first. And last year it was pretty close. We beat them by about 45 minutes, I think. But we will see what happens this year. Either way, here's wishing all of us a safe trip back. Bye! So after some last minute bits and bobs that we picked up from Super U, everything's loaded in the van and we're going to head on our way. We've got 750 miles between here and home, almost exactly to the mile. Our route will take us from here through the valley, hopefully avoiding the early morning traffic that we saw earlier, and then up via Annecy and then back across to Lyon, Dijon, back across towards Dijon and then up through France, and then somewhere on the way we'll stop off for an overnight with 2 or 3 breaks on the way. Let's get going. Okay, one fantastic holiday. Yep. Okay, let's go. Au revoir, Camping Huttopia at Borg Saint Maurice. See you next year.
A new place, a new home, for a while, let me feel alive. nothing to hold me back. Take my time, just enjoy the ride. I know man passing by, life is good, best I've ever felt. Get me up, somewhere new, somewhere I can find myself.
So we've managed to escape Bourg Saint Maurice without any traffic problems at all on the high street. So we're now heading back through the valley, back towards Moutier. Hopefully the traffic will be free flowing all the way. It's a gorgeous afternoon. It says 15 degrees on the thermometer of the van. It's hard to believe that yesterday we were up skiing in the mountain snow. We've visited this part of France many times before, but we've never been as close to Lake Annecy as this. We've always said we should come and have a look, and whilst we are just driving past today, we were right on the shores there, right on the banks. Right on the shores, right on the bank. What a pretty lake it is.
I know I'll be okay, 'cause I found my way.
So we've left Annecy. We're now travelling on the A41 up towards Geneva and then ultimately onto Bourg-en-Bresse, and we're leaving the mountains behind us. Certainly the big mountains anyway. So probably be summertime before we see them again, if not next February. This is a funny little bit of autoroute because just on the other side is Switzerland. We're still in France and heading up to France, further up through France, but if we're on the other side of the carriageway, you'd be heading into Switzerland. There's a bit of a queue there as well. So we've travelled 3.5 hours, 150 odd miles, which doesn't sound much, but a lot of it is queuing, busier traffic, and we cut round the side of Lake Annecy, which saved us some distance, but meant that our average speed was less. Anyway, it's time for a cup of tea, a piece of cake or something sweet, and maybe just a little stretch of our legs. Well,
Air de Benny.
Air de Benny is the name of the air we're at. B-E-N-Y. Just off the A39. So we're at quite a rural French air. It's just off the motorway, but there's just woods and some picnic tables and toilets and water refill. But all at these airs, they also have an SOS station as well, which is great if you need some assistance, especially if you're 4 years old and you press the button like the little girl did just now, and was a little bit surprised when the lady started to talk to her and find out what was wrong. And then her mum had to come over and explain that there wasn't a problem, it was just her 4-year-old was getting excited with the SOS button. No harm done. What are we having with our cup of tea? Malt loaf. What's Ben doing with my sausage on loaf?
Some cheese.
Has he got a licence for it? It's very, very sharp.
You don't have a... Oh, it smells a bit cheesy in here now.
Fridge full of cheese and sausage salt. Cup of tea made. Found a pain au chocolat left over from this morning. And a quick little nap to refresh. And then we'll be on our way. So good morning. It is 3:30 a.m. on Sunday morning. We had our overnight park up. We actually stopped at the same search for sites park up that we stopped at on the way down to the Alps at Francilly-Selency, a little car park on the edge of a village. So had a few hours sleep here, and we've got about a 2-hour drive up to the tunnel. So just pop the pop top down, and we're now ready to head on. So it's 6 a.m. on Sunday morning. We've made good progress over the last couple of hours at the French side of our journey from our stopover, arriving a little bit early here in Calais and checking in. Got offered a slightly earlier train as well for no extra charge, which was nice. Hopefully it's pretty quiet, or very quiet. We should be able to actually board on time. So just going to have a cup of tea, perhaps a croissant before we go. But took the opportunity to park up in the waiting area with a fellow Hymer owner in their free 600. So if you're watching this video later on, nice to meet you. Hope you had a great trip and have a safe trip back home. Time for a cup of tea then, time for a croissant, and boarding the train very shortly. So there we go, we're on the train. We made it safely to the Eurotunnel, the end of another fantastic trip away to France. Took a slightly different strategy on this return trip by booking a very early Sunday morning train rather than a late Saturday night train. So we had that extra 4 hours sleep at the end of, or part towards the end of the trip, just giving us a chance to freshen up and getting here to get the 7 o'clock train. So see what difference that makes to arriving back home in Salisbury, but hopefully we'll be back there about 10 o'clock this morning. But we've had an amazing trip. Really hope you've enjoyed sharing it with us, and if you did, please remember to hit the button to like, subscribe, and drop me any comments or questions. I'd be really happy to answer any that you've got. Thanks again for watching, and we look forward to seeing you on another video with us here at Campervan Journey very, very soon. Thanks for watching. Oh, that gloomy English weather.